barrel or not, bagging your own groceries. And now hold your thought. This listener wrote in an email that kind of deviates from that initial conceit, but I'm going to read it to you real quick. He says, when you forget to bring your own grocery bag, but still being a decent person, bag your own groceries using one of the store's bags, expediting the process tremendously, helping the cashier, et cetera, et cetera. And yet the cashier still charges you 10 cents for whatever, for the bag that you're using, even though you're doing the work. Obviously, it's not the 10 cents, but on principle, I've always felt that was silly and a little out of touch. Furthermore, how annoying is it when you're waiting in line behind an able-bodied person who's just standing there on the phone, taking up space and not helping the cashier bag their groceries? That's infuriating. It wastes everybody's time. I've always wanted to apologize to the cashier after that person leaves. Keep work, Luke in Carlsbad.
Luke, great point. I'm real mixed on this one. So if there are baggers, if there are usually baggers I feel are younger or down at the market I shop, some of the baggers are special needs, which is great. And I love it. And so I don't want to take their job away from them, right?
Yeah.
And I would like to encourage also the grocery store to hire baggers. If you don't have a bagger, hire a bagger. But when you're in the situation where you have just the cashier, you have a line, overworked cashier, likely, stressy, do your best to help out in that situation. Grab and just shove. I am an awful bagger. I don't have the math brain or the Tetris brain or any of it, so I'll do it all wrong, which sometimes I think leads to more problem because then the bagger has to unbag, or the cashier has to unbag me and rebag me, which now we've just wasted double time. But I think the work or the attempt at work is appreciated.
That is so funny. I've had the cashier judge my bagging too.
Yeah.
They'll finish. I'm still bagging. They're done doing their job. And so they'll come over and try to help because now it's my turn to pay. So, expedite the process. So they'll start bagging and I see them look all in three bags, very confused, and
Yeah.
then move stuff from this bag to that
Yes.
bag. They're totally judging.
I feel though, because my wife has the bagging, she likes to bag, right? I feel if you become a grocery store clerk, you probably also like to bag. That's probably the fun part of your job, and here we go again, back to the grocery store. The cart, I fully understand that. Intrinsically, anybody out who doesn't want to go outside and work a little more is a person that I don't leave space for that person in this world, right? But if you're a grocery store clerk, do you love to bag so much that when somebody's bagging, that's the fun part. You're ringing up so you can get to the puzzle playing, right? And
Yeah,
then if somebody's bagging for you, did they just take your puzzle?
maybe.
See, I don't know because I don't have that puzzling instinct, but I
Yeah.
need somebody to call in. I need a former or current clerk to call in. Is that the real joy of the checking? I would think the joy of the checking is the sliding. The impossible part of the checking would be remembering the code for parsley. I'd those ones who can rattle that off, especially when there's a new employee who's coming in and kind of the older employees are hovering around helping,
Yeah.
and the person gets the nectarine and is and other person across the way, 0346.
I
And
know.
it says, oh, but this one's organic, 0343. They have every code for every piece of produce in the entire store in their brain.
It's amazing. What a
Yeah,
skill.
what a skill.
You know what else? I never realized. We have a special needs bagger here at our local store too. And so
Great.
it's funny to hear you say that. I didn't realize that was actually a thing.
I mean, it's great, right? There's human interaction, it's
Yeah.
really fun interaction. I think most people are very kind to the person, and the whole thing just is great. It feels like a little moment in Sesame Street where everyone's,
The
these are
world is a better
the
place.
neighbor. Yeah, the world is a better place for that moment.
You know what's really funny too? I had noticed that guy, but I've never interacted with him. I just
Yeah.
notice him he's always away somewhere, not, in my line, um, or not bagging my groceries, I guess. And then Lauren came home and she was telling me a story about him one time, like, oh, yeah, you know that guy that always comes over and helps? And I'm like, no. I mean, I know who he is, but I've never interacted with him. She goes, what are you talking about? He comes and he
Oh,
asks me if I need help finding things. He helps me grab stuff. Like he's overly helpful. I'm
is it
like,
Peter Druin? Was it Peter Druin?
it was. What I've realized is he's got a crush on my wife. And
Yes.
now, once I figured that out, I pay attention. He's only ever helping women, and he is the friendliest helper you've ever met in your life.
That is, I gotta tip my cap to him. I was gonna say you should make him your enemy and go destroy what's left of his life. But no, I'm gonna say that dude is hero of the week.
It's hilarious that, like, I figured it out. He's got a full on scam going, and nobody's wise to it because everybody's like grateful, you know?
He's helping everybody. But what
Yeah.
it like that's great though, that in the world, I would imagine that it would be harder for that person, that dude, to have like a bunch of interactions with women, right? But in the store, it's the perfect place. And you have the perfect amount of time to do it too, because that bagging ritual or that it never happens instantly. That is a time-ish consume, like it's a 4 or 5 minute. It's perfect enough for how was your day today? How's your week
Yep.
been? Kind of talk.
Totally. He
Mhm.
plays the role perfectly. He's perfectly qualified for it. And everybody's thrilled to see him. Like he is the hero of everybody's day every day.
One day you're gonna have to run one last minute errand and get there right at closing time. And you're gonna see him coming out dressed as dapper can be, two women on each arm,
I know.
strolling over to a waiting limousine.
I really hope that day happens. Okay, the
One of them's gonna
next
be
one.
Lauren.
The next one comes from a listener. Um, as I'm reading the title of this, it makes me feel like maybe this came up at some point in the show before, but let's go ahead and hit it. Oops, volume's down. Always do that to eliminate text message pings. Okay, here we go.
David and Chaz, calling in here from the Space Coast of Florida. This one's for the grit. Battle or nah, surfboard furniture. I've seen a rise in the area of surfboards being used as chairs, benches, even fences. This seems a little blasphemous, seeing as these watercraft need a little more respect. Let me know what you think, boys. Keep up the work.
Surfboards as furniture.
Yeah, I think this one is a specific carve out. I think we've done surfboards as art. I think we have done surfboards as maybe fences,
Okay.
surfboards as definitely as like I'm painting my address on the surfboard or whatnot. But specifically as furniture, I'm again going to go across the board, no barrel. The
Yeah.
surfboard is a piece of art by itself. It is functional art. You don't need to do anything more with it, nor should you. The only carve out I'm going to give is I'm going to allow for a wall hanging surfboard if that surfboard is like crazy, crazy, crazy special. It can't just be one that you think is kind of cool. So you're going to mount it on the wall. Like it's got to have a story. It's got to have something. I'm going to allow for that. Not always, but I'll allow for that to exist. None of the rest will I allow to exist.
I'm only going to allow for that to exist if it's a vintage board. Like you can't go buy a brand new Skip
No,
Fry or
you're
Jerry
right.
Lopez as a wall hanger, even if it's a pipeliner or something. You can if it's new, you got to ride it. If it's like a Pat Curran gun from the 30s or whatever, 40, I don't even know when, then wall hanger.
Precisely. I had just in my mind like the surfboard or the
Yeah,
surfboard museum, right? And I feel like I could see that in somebody's house also, a version of that, one of those, right? One
yeah,
like, which you're exactly right, a historically significant board, not a new board, but
yeah.
no surfboard for furniture. And once again, no surfboard is art. I hate to say it, but, and I don't mean to beat up on old Herbie Fletcher here, but his rectangles are dumb. That
I know.
like, it is silly art and you don't need to do that. There is no point in it. The
Well,
surfboard is what it is as the surfboard, not hung up.
the other thing is it makes a crappy chair. It makes a crappy table. Like there is a difference. Well-made chairs are comfortable. Surfboards are not. Well-made tables are not domed. They hold, your drink won't fall off of it. So there's no point in using a surfboard for that stuff other than kitsch.
Yes. Don't
So
like it. No
yeah,
barrel.
No barrel, definitely no barrel. Final barrel or not, collecting. I thought each board in my quiver had purpose, but I recently overheard my wife describe it to a friend as my quote surfboard collection. I've quietly disdained and even mocked adults with collections of Beanie Babies, baseball cards, bobbleheads, porcelain figures, or even Seinfeld's Porsche collection. Get real, rich dudes. How many watches do you need? If I'm honest, collecting always seemed more like a psychological affliction than a hobby to me, but now I'm having a hard look in the mirror. Thanks, wife.
Good one. Ooh, man, this was well done too in terms of going from both low to high in collections and realizing it is the same. Like, and he's right. I do feel the same way. How much do you need? Jerry Seinfeld, did you really need to buy a whole building in New York, level it, and make it a garage to house your Porsches? How many of them are you driving daily? How much, like, it's just this need for more, this need for a bigger chin is this insatiableness, right? Totally true. And I'm going to say, no barrel on collecting surfboards. There's even though you're going to justify why you need each one, Jerry Seinfeld justifies why he needs each Porsche too.
Yeah.
Whoever has a rich dude with a huge watch collection, each one has meaning to him. That can't be the bar. The bar has to be, I get five. Which are the best five? The rest got to go. Or whatever the number is, six. What do you think where do you,
Three.
really?
Yeah.
I think you need I'm gonna say you need 5 surfboards.
No.
Really? 3.
I mean, need?
Yeah, I'm
is
gonna say need 5. You need a high performance shortboard. You need a mid-length, I'll say. You need a grovelly shortboard, grovel day shortboard. There's 3. I guess you just need 3.
I don't need a high performance shortboard and I don't need a mid length. I can get away with a twin fin. I can get away with 2. I can get away with like a fish twin fin, and I just got like a 6'6" dead kooks twin, yin yang twin. That thing's a utility knife. I could surf it in overhead waves. I could surf it in small waves. It rips. It gets barreled.
I get the utility of surfboards, except I'm going to argue that every surfer does need a high performance thruster. Even Devin Howard himself has a high performance thruster in the garage.
So ultimately, just as a general statement, I stand by what I just said too. But if you did fish, high performance thruster, and something in the mid range, that's your 3-board quiver. You could go anywhere on any surf trip. I mean, look, other than people who are trying to get barreled at backdoor or go surf Waimea or something like
Yeah,
that,
you're right.
for every standard surfer, those 3 boards will get you through any surf trip.
So, and I hate to tell this to our dear listener, I've got to go look in my garage today too. I've got to go have a hard conversation with myself standing at the surfboard rack. It is a collection. It is your surfboard collection.
And as I thought about this, listeners, barrel or not, it's collecting is a malady of it's a psychological something. Like
Yes.
there's something in your youth that is making Jerry Seinfeld buy all those Porsches. You know what I mean? Like he either loved a Porsche intensely when he was young or didn't have access to something that he craved when he was young. And now this is manifesting later in life and he's indulging it because I guess what's the harm? But realistically, it's not beneficial. And I think it is reflective of that slippery slope of like, you're never going to fill the void. You're just going to keep pouring into it. And there's probably better things to do with your time. There's definitely better things to do with the money. Like, it's not good.
I mean, yeah, no. Like if I would say 3 is a pretty good number for anything.
All of it.
If Jerry Seinfeld had 3 Porsches, his 3 favorite ones, and you could swap them out, right? You can, okay, this one's, I want this one now, but that means I got to sell this one. Fine and good. 3 Porsches, 3 Beanie Babies is good. If you have 3 of them, they're like, these are the most special. But, you know, I can get another one, but then I got to kick one out. You were right. 5 is too much. 3 is the right number for any collection.
3 watches.
Yeah.
You got like an everyday wear, a dress watch, maybe one that's leather, one that's steel, you know, or whatever. 3 is the right number for all of this. And I would argue Jerry Seinfeld would enjoy those 3 more than he enjoys 3,000.
That's what I would think too, because you actually know those three. 3,000 is too many to know. Like I guarantee, yeah, I've heard tell of Jerry's Porsche collection, which is it's got to be in the hundreds, right? He doesn't
For
even probably
sure.
know what
Yeah,
he
yeah.
has. He has to go look at a catalog. Oh yeah, that one. He doesn't remember them.
Totally. I'm gonna look it up real quick, see if the internet knows. How many
How-
Porsches does Jerry own?
Uh, Along this line though, if you're collecting chins, you only need one chin, I think.
Um, I what's his name has two chins. Idolo, it's like one over here and one over here. Okay, it says Jerry's car collection includes over 150 vehicles and around 43 Porsches.
Okay, so 43 Porsches, but still 143 vehicles, 43 Porsches. I wonder, Jerry Garcia, Jerry Seinfeld, I bet cannot go and name each Porsche he has off the top of his head.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. How many cars does Jay Leno have?
Ooh, Jay Leno has got to be like, I'm gonna say 320.
That's an unbelievably good guess because he has 180 cars and 160 motorcycles, which I think is
Oh,
exactly, oh, it'd be 340, I guess.
yeah, that
Man,
makes sense. Jay Leno, did you see Jay Leno fall down recently?
I saw his bruise.
Jay Leno is he was, I feel not that long ago was it a motorcycle wreck or a car wreck?
Yeah, I think motorcycle maybe.
Yeah, and I think something fairly serious, hospital and whatnot. And this one, did you read the story about how he fell down?
No.
Speaking of adults falling down, I guess, in our forgotten segment,
Celebrities in the wild, now celebrities falling down.
falling down. He was staying at a hotel on a hill. I think it was in Los Angeles.
I think it was
And
Rhode Island. I thought Newport, Rhode Island, I want to say.
oh, okay, yeah. So he was staying in a hotel on a hill. The went to the desk person and said, "Where's a restaurant?" They said it's down at the bottom of the hill, but it's I think like a mile or something. You might want to get a car. And he's like, "I got this. I'm gonna walk." So he stepped down on the hill and apparently fell down and rolled down the entire hill.
It probably got there quicker.
Yeah, real
I mean, the
funny.
bruise on his face was massive, right?
Yeah, no, he rolled down the entire hill and hit his head along the way on various objects in the road. Yeah,
How is there no security footage of this?
there's got to be. We gotta ask 𝐿𝐻𝐻𝐿 Abruzzi if it was in fact in Rhode Island.
I mean, they've got cameras everywhere in Newport.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sad story for Jay, but glad he's okay. The guy is like incredibly resilient at his age. Coming back from motorcycle accidents, and I've never even heard of a fall like that. That's cartoonish.
No, I know. It was real funny.
Weird. But he's feeble-minded because of his collection. You know what I mean? Like that's an
Yeah.
indicator of his feeble-mindedness and psychology.
Yep. Weirdo.
Okay.